Okay, I will test this little camera. Seems to be having battery problems. Oh boy. Probably pretty dark out here now, I don't care. I was thinking it could be an audio log. I guess the video adds something to it. What that is, I do not know. Well, you can see the inflections of the person. I'm just making a little tester. This camera's been having problems and several things. There's I'm just seeing if the battery lasts on it. It's kind of dark out here. Haven't made a video log in a couple of days. Yo, da bien. Exactamente palabras para esta nueva amiga. Sí, yo, da bien. Always happy to hear from you. The ridiculous and the sublime. It's a technique I use a lot. I don't know if anybody follows this kind of thing, but the ridiculous and the sublime, when I'm writing or when I'm covering especially, it helps me to find sort of the heart of a song and change it and bring out really the best in them a lot of times. I hope, I think. So sometimes, not everything you do works out. And that's part of the whole deal. It's like, if you do art, you have to give yourself permission to try anything and fail at everything. And it's always, for me, when I feel the most free to create, than to fail even, the best stuff comes out. But if I'm pushing it, like I've just got to make this work, then it doesn't come out as much. I think after you get to a certain level of professionalism, everything comes out, you can make everything come out okay, but in order for something to go stellar, you really have to do something special to it, So, the ridiculous and the sublime, what I like to do is, I like to take with songs, covering them, and I have thousands of originals. That's coming, don't worry. I'm going to quit doing all these covers. They're really to let you assess, like, oh, this guy can, is pretty good, kind of a thing. He understands things, and he probably has some, people already like those songs, and I love seeing covers, seeing what people can do with them. But anyway, it's just for that purpose, to kind of draw attention to, like, hey, he's pretty good. Might want to check out some of his originals. But I love doing it. It's a challenge to get into a song and figure out where the heart, the core of the song lives. And what I like to do is figure out what's good about it and just do more of that. Somebody asked me one time, I was like, I'll just figure out what's good about a song and do more of that. And sometimes less. If it's a sparse song, less is more, Or if I reverse them a lot too. It's like, if it's really sparse, I'll thicken it up with all kinds of parts and stuff, If it's loud at one point, I'll make that part of the song soft to change it. But two things, I don't know. Like I was fooling around with the idea of doing, so many examples, I'll probably give a bad one, but Killing Me Softly, and the last night, two things became apparent. If you do music and stuff, I used to think the power was in the delivery of the notes, and it kind of is, but not for the overall. You have to ask yourself, what does this song do? What's its intention? And then I'm the guy sitting over talking to himself to these guys over here. They're like meth heads or something. I can tell from the way they act, But I was doing like Killing Me Softly, and what I do is I'll play with the song and go, it's so soft, it's like, and then and like, it's already soft. Make it so soft it's ridiculous. And when something gets to that point of By the way, it really is agonizing pain for me to talk. I'm in a lot of pain, but that's just my life. I kind of have to. I have to lay down a lot after these. But you know, to explain that theory, and it's not even a theory; it's a fact. You know, have you ever seen somebody doing something so awesome, like playing guitar so great that it was kind of ridiculous? You know. Probably that's where the term "something's ridiculously good" came from, you know. But who was it? Descartes, or one of these great philosophers, said that if you take the sublime and the ridiculous, that you have the sublime here, which is meaning the ultimate example of something, a guitar player, what have you. If you push that one step further, it gets ridiculous. But if you push the ridiculous one step further, it becomes sublime again. And those things go back and forth in a Ouroboros type, you know, the snake eating its own tail type, or infinity loop, you know, infinite loop that it can't be broken. So I took that song, and reversing that works too, like Killing Me Softly I took, and it's so soft and so sparse. I thought, well, how would that sound with like a Sex Pistols or Motorhead type beat? I saw your picture and my face with a finger, and it really that's one thing about great songs. They hold up no matter how you bastardize them, you know. It's amazing as like sort of in a Motorhead but heavier style. If something soft, I'll reverse it to make it different and make it as heavy as it can possibly be, you know. Or go so soft that it's ridiculous. And usually when I find where the ridiculous is, I can either push that further and it becomes sublime, and that's usually inaccessible, or I can pull it back, like on that, you know, others, who knows what songs. I'll use that as an example. It's something I was working on, and I've finished. I've got so many finished and need videos. I need Disc Bass and Howl and Blizzy and Betty decided to have about a 7.9 day conversation. That's 5 days in. I wish I knew what they were talking about. Actually, I do. I'm the one who set them up to do that. But if I stop them, I programmed them to start all over again to make sure nothing is missed. And it's like a few terabyte conversation. But yeah, that's such a great device for me. If you're trying to cover a song and can't like find the right place, and the power is not, I used to think like screaming Highway to Hell, the power was in the screaming. It's not. It's in the relationships of all songs, in the notes. If you find your key, like I did a song the other day, I was doing examples of this really, and I posted a song where I was singing like, my range ends at about first string on guitar at around G is my into my high power range. I can go really high, but then my voice is not very pleasant higher. I can go very high, but it's not pleasant, you know. And but I did something where I was like pushing it, and the notes weren't wrong, but it wasn't pleasant to listen to. And I put it. I have hundreds of private videos, and I was put it on the web. And which reminds me. I put it on the web, and anyway, somebody commented on it. They didn't say good or bad or anything. It's just like interesting. And I was like, oh man, this is only like an example for myself, you know, of what not to do. And it was kind of cool. Some people would like it. I could see that. But I dropped it down, you know, the point being, it's not singing things in the original key. It's making them your own. But it's even Highway to Hell, I sang that at like, living easy, you know, loving free, a season ticket on a one-way line. And with a mic right there, it was like room temperature singing, you know, room like that loud. But in the mix, it sounds, I hadn't listened to those forever. Some guitar head came through last night and posted on both of those, more of these please. I'm like, yeah, no shit, 100 hours on each of them. You know, yeah. Um, the power is in the two things. The power is in the notes, not in their uh, octave delivery, especially. It is, however, somewhat in there. If you have an attitude singing Highway to Hell in your key with the right attitude, it'll work. That's one thing. So the power is in the notes, not in the octave delivery. And the other thing is, and then if something you could get schmaltzy with some songs by changing keys and changing instrumentation or orchestration or arrangements. Like Bill Murray, feelings, all of that. And that's ridiculous, But if you push that further, you could make that sublime, An example of that would be guitar songs can lose their edge when you drop them down a key and do them with keyboards. So that becomes not even necessarily guitar songs, but songs that were intense become less intense, when you drop them down and you're not screaming it. And a good way to make it intense again is to up your arrangement with more guitars, heavier guitars surrounding the vocal, and the attitude of the vocalist suddenly becomes, it'll make it Highway to Hell again and not, Highway to Hell, schmaltzy, and I go schmaltzy on stuff all the time. And somewhere when I'm like, I still recall the taste of your tears, it sort of goes into like this, you get at the core of the song, do it like 10 times in a row with I program drums, I've played bass and keys or guitar, and it's in a loop, and then suddenly like, I still recall the taste of your tears becomes like this vicious sort of, I get this now, it's like, I still recall the taste of your tears. You can get at the core of those things by fucking with them up, and down and turning them around and backwards. That's one thing, I wanted to talk about was the powers in the notes and not screaming them, especially. Some stuff, yes, This is just techniques I use. You could leave 10 minutes ago, wouldn't offend me, I'd never know. The other thing was being a guitar player has kind of fucked me up as a composer and arranger for the first many years of my career. Not the last 10 or 15, but the first, 20, because the songs only existed as an excuse to play guitar, and I had to rip all the way through. And especially lately, what I'm finding is you're better off playing a one well-placed note guitar solo. Somebody covered a Beatles song, I think it was Tomorrow Never Knows or something, and there was one note in there, and a producer I really like told me that's the greatest guitar solo I've ever heard, and I agreed, but I was like, yeah, isn't that a trip? And like he was saying, and I agree, this is years ago, one well-placed note is better than a billion notes all over the thing that don't serve the song. Now I look at the guitar as another paintbrush. It's my instrument, it's what I'm best at, and I'm good at and everything. A lot of people think so. But, it's also the hardest instrument to play tastefully. So, playing for the songs, and these guys, I used to be the kind of player who could draw a crowd at Guitar Center, which is making a bold statement. I'm not anymore. Probably David Gilmour is my best influence. Simple, easy, impactful, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Everything in a song and a mix as you're producing should have an impact. If the impact is to distract you from the impact of the song, then it's just completely fucked. You need to rethink that. But, most guitar players I notice on YouTube, they tend to charge in, play all the way through, and for God's sake, I'm tired of seeing guys who are pretty good players slightly out of tune, and even if they think they're in tune, the guitar is a fluid instrument, it's the kind of thing where a lot of time, every time, as I'm playing the guitar, I'm also holding ever so slightly two, two, three, four strings at a time in relationship to each other to keep them in perfect tune. There's that, and then there's the tone. The typical YouTube guitar player, even people who one kid covers Pink Floyd, Comfortably Numb, just trying to demonstrate the lead, has like 1 million hits. Almost every note is wrong, not only in its position, but in its tone and its timbre and its phrasing, but people are praising it, But the typical YouTube player is slightly out of tune, has a plasticky tone, and no taste. Overplays, I guess is what I'm saying. How do I know that? Because I did that for a real long time. When I listen to my old stuff now, the stuff I did in my first 20 years, I cringe. Because as a guitar player, that's all I cared about was playing guitar. I didn't care about the song, the singer, nothing. I just wanted to shred guitar. And that gets if everything's loud, there's no impact there, is what I'm saying. If everything's loud, like a film mix especially, people tend to push everything at the top. Well, all you have to do is, if everything is loud, everything is soft. See what I mean? All you have to do is turn the knob down and nothing jumps out anymore. But, playing for the song and realizing that the impact is in the notes has been key in the last 10, 15 years for me, and especially in the last 2 days, 2 months, whatever. This camera's been fucking up. All my computers have been, there's nothing I can't fix. There's everything I don't ever want to ever fix again, or dick with, There's hardly anything I cannot fix. And I'm a professional tech and a physicist and scientist and engineer. I don't want to fuck with it. I want to sit down and have it work. I'm too old for this shit. But there's several things that anybody else would say, oh, it's broken, or take it to the shop. I'm like, fuck, I have to fix it. And it's time consuming, some stuff. Everything works, but it's just, the USB bus that powers the battery on this camera isn't working right. I've got a virus that is... I found that's not even a problem at all. I just want to get it off there. It's kind of looming around. I found a video last night of me. I forgot all about making it, and it's a DVD. Actually, I was just completely sick and wiped out on meds, and I couldn't believe it. It's so... Oh man, I'm gonna post some of it. I have to edit it because it's so graphically... it's scary, not nudity or not profanity or not anything like that or violence. Just seeing a person that bad off is shocking. It's shocking to me, I mean, I weighed 140 pounds or something, and it was weird, but I went through a thing. I was archiving all my video to DVD, and I wish I had that guy doing DVDs for me right now. It's such a cool design. Every menu comes up like a drop, a drop of water with a graphic exploding out of it. You can click on that and get into many other levels of stuff. It's just crazy. I didn't even remember doing that. And then I remembered, oh yeah, I used to love designing DVDs, But I'm going to upload some of that. I've already ripped it and converted it. And YouTube is jacking with me on my uploads now about... I did one sort of like just talking about what, how big of criminals they are and how they're getting away with murder, but there are no laws about this shit yet. And the 5th time I've tried, it's 2 gigs, like, 4-hour upload or 2.5-hour upload. It's like been rejected several times, and it's like, I'm not even a conspiracy guy, but it's just like, that was the first one ever. I'll investigate further. That little rain problem probably caused my USB bus problem. Anyway, hello everybody. I'm glad you watch my music and vlog. I got tons of stuff finished already, and I need to realize, here's the other thing. I can whip on guitar all day long and do guitar-based songs, but those are much harder to make videos for. And it is YouTube, it is about video, and just more of a pain in the ass. Although I've, got a couple of, with this camera and so on, post-production on it. I've been able to cut that from 100 hours down to probably 20 per video, but it's I think people with the guitar, it's fluid, it's natural, it's human. They like to see it be played, and I don't want to pretend I'm playing it. I want to show them as it's being played, how it was played exactly. That's the only reason a couple of my videos have really been popular. They can see, oh, he was actually doing that, not pretending. So anyway, they're two completely different things, working with video and working with audio. And in the modern world, they sort of can get confused easily, I think. I was trying to go quickly because it's getting really dark out here. My mouse is back. Let's see. I'll do this, the poltergeist ending. People, this house is clear.